up on a farm, living the farm life, and your parents were just like, better name you after some tractor equipment, like
No,
WM?
okay. So, my parents are what my brother and I like to call hippies. They definitely were back in the day. My dad was a motorcycle wearer, long hair, Fu Manchu mustache, total wild child. What Nathan and I are talking about is my strange first name. Most of the world knows me as Wes, but that's not legally my name. My name is actually two very confusing letters next to each other. They are W and M. Just really throws most people for a loop. But yeah, that's my name. So basically the long story short is my dad and mom wanted to name me after a relative. So on my mom's side, I believe I have a great-grandfather named William. WM is short for William. My dad really hates the name Bill, and Bill is a nickname for William. So when I was born, he just kind of wrote WM on my birth certificate. And
He just kind of wrote WM
yeah,
on your
I mean,
birth
I guess he
certificate.
intentionally did it. There's no kind of about it. I was technically there, but I didn't have any say over the situation or anything like that. I know they really liked how my name looks anagrammed, so they couldn't get away from the two W's because, it's two little W's and a big S. You can do a lot of cool designs with that. But yeah, I just got saddled with two letters for a name that has, throughout my entire life, when they're reading off names and the person becomes completely silent, that's me. That one, the one you can't understand, absolutely me.
When did that first happen? Was that like a from preschool, kindergarten
Yeah, absolutely.
on type of
Every
thing?
year of school, every teacher the first time, not even the first time. A lot of the times, it's like if it's a big lecture hall and they have to call roll, every single time. They get to WM and they just pause. And I can count down last names.
Right.
Like that's an SE, that's another SE, that's an SO. I'm next. And then they pause. Like, yeah, absolutely. I know the name you're looking at. It's me.
And it's just in a place where there are a bank of global names for which a professor or instructor or a person in in an office doing roll count or whatever, like
WM.
WM's the stumper.
It just kills it. It just stops everything dead in its tracks. You can see this completely lost look wash over people's faces, and it's like, yeah, absolutely, I'm here, I promise. But
and there's never been like a guardrail, I don't know, do kids have their the name that they go by as something they input on a sheet of paper that's like Wes W.M. Stoerger.
Oh no, I actually didn't know what my real first name was until I was 7. My parents even called me Wes, and I really only found out when I became completely aware of what my middle name was. My middle name is Weston. So I remember thinking, my name is not Wes Weston. That sounds weird. So I had to ask my parents what my name was.
That sounds like the best cowboy.
I knew my name was Wes, but I had to go to my mom and dad and be like, I know my name's not Wes. What's my name? And this is a little kid being like, hey mom, hey dad, what is going on? Because what you've been calling me is, even to my small mind, not my name.
I really do like Wes Weston though. I feel
but it was I have this memory. I was in pre-K, looking at the coats and thinking my name's not Wes Weston. Yeah, it's just been, one of those things.
And I've just been thinking about it ever since.
Yeah, it's just, it's something they hear about on a regular basis. I love to give them crap for it.
You can also curse on this radio show if you so wish to choose. This radio show. This,
yeah.
Welcome to the old time broadcasting, Tim.
Yeah.
Anyway. But you can also not curse on this show.
Okay.
You can,
so it's not mandatory.
No, it's
what
not
you're
mandatory. But if you would like to, if you feel comfortable doing so, you're more than welcome.
Sure,
to.
Absolutely. It's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to have, like I said before we started, I don't want this to be the last and unaired episode of this podcast.
That's why we tear the labels off of drinks, because until we get that sponsorship, we ain't handing out those sponsorships.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. It's smart.
But no, and then I loved the dad joke too. What kind of a 5-year-old comes up with such a clever
Oh
dad
yeah,
joke.
it's like one of the things that whenever my parents were irritating my brother and I, which parents irritate kids, we love to give them crap that my brother, his name is Dana. It's 4 letters long. My name is 2 letters long. He has as many vowels in his name as I have letters. So he has a word, and I have kind of a sound that I have co-opted into a word just saying the 2 letters. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I wish I had a real name.
And that's where we start episode 18 of the WTF Carbondale podcast with WM Stoerger. It's the podcast where we talk to interesting people about their interesting lives, and we tie it all back together and connect it to this lovely little place we call home, Carbondale, Illinois. Wes, WM.
It's either one. It's fine.
I wish your middle name started with a D. WMD Stoerger.
Yeah, I mean, they set themselves up for so much and just like washed it out somewhere in the middle. Just got such a normal middle name. It's nice because now I have a regular name people know me by.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could have just gone for broke, and they didn't. They just dropped the ball.
Really knocked it out. No, I love that, man. That's fun. So we know each other because we worked in restaurants together.
Yeah, absolutely. I worked at a pizza place.
Was I managing when you were like working? Was that like at the?
I think at the end when I was there,
Oh, yeah.
because I was there a while before you were there. Because I was there for like 7 or 8 years. I was there forever. But
As
I
people
think
do.
towards the end, like for a year and a half, like about a year, maybe a little bit longer, you were managing there. I think you were. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were.
That sounds right. I spent more time with your brother for sure.
Oh
It
yeah.
was real fun to work with. Him and his always wearing soccer jerseys and stuff, living the good life.
That sounds like him.
It's just cool, man. And for you to be like, yeah, now he's like working with state and crunching numbers and doing
Yeah.
like real stuff. Like,
Complete opposite from what you would expect. Seeing him when he was 18 to 22, he has got a real person job now.
Right.
Does real things.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic at it. Yeah, he's doing
that's
great.
what we all do when we get older.
Yeah,
It's like,
you just
"Oh,
do
now
something."
Now I gotta grow up. Why?
Yeah, I couldn't. I would never have imagined Dana as someone who would have crunched numbers for his living. But yeah, he loves crafting budgets. It's his jam. He gets all into it. He just loves this stuff.
Did you think that you would work at the university museum in a position like you're working in now?
Never. Yes and no. So like, right when I think I was finishing up grad school, was the last year in it, was when the original one of the older curators, Nate Steinbrink, retired, and they hired his replacement, Allison Erasmus, who's fantastic. They had like a call, and I was one of the applicants for it. So I thought about it then, but it's one of those like, yeah, it would be really cool to work at this museum. I know a lot of the stuff, but it was never something I put like. It wasn't my dream or goal. Like, I have to come back in 5 years to be the curator of exhibits at the University Museum in Carbondale, where everything I've done to this point is a failure. No, it wasn't anything like that. Like, it was always something that I always thought would have been really cool and fun to come back and get to work with this collection that I know so well. But it wasn't like, this is my only career aspiration. I have to do this. Everything will build up towards this moment. Yeah, but
You just kind of landed back in Carbondale.
Yeah, but it's been great. Yeah, I've loved the job.
How did you get here the first go round?
So both my dad and his sister are SIU alumni.
Okay.
So it was always kind of on my radar as one of the colleges I went to visit. And honestly, I fell in love with campus the minute I came down here. It's a strange part of campus that I fell in love with. It was the triads. So it was these little like 3-story dorms, but I really loved all like the trees and the common areas in between them. So like they're knocked down now, so no one but my memory gets to experience this. But they had like this big stone commons area, like concrete with these trees growing up around it. And it was really a nice integration of dorms and woods, and you're still close to everything. And like the minute I was there, I was like, okay, this is where I want to go to college. Like this is
that really a thing that like students experience? Is because
I don't know,
I don't have that being like the townie, right? Like I don't get to click on that, but like to really like you walk on to the quad and you're like, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
it
a
was
feeling.
literally that specific part of campus. It was like, this is the only place I want to go to school. Like, if it's not here, I don't know where it's going to be because none of the other schools that I've been to looked anything like this. This is where I want.
I think that's like the new marketing trick that somebody needs to pitch to SIU. It's like, listen, we just need to set up little like student traps all over campus.
Make this seem really appealing, and then they're just never going to want to leave.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. If you get them in on the one thing, like I don't care what it is. It could be the Bucky Dome Pavilion. It could be something out by the boat dock. It could be whatever. I don't know. But figure out what those things are, and then just churn your students through there. Every 15 minutes, I want a new student
just like
going out to the trap
There's
spot.
an opening. Get someone over there now. We have student tours all around campus. We need to schedule this. It's just a rotation. Get them moving. There's no reason.
And they don't fall in love in groups. If you run a group through, it's not how that's going to work. Like
and I guess that
one
was
at a
the other
time.
thing. My mom and I had split off from the group that we were touring with, and we're just wandering around campus on our own.
Yeah.
And that's when I really got the sense of this is where I wanted to go to school at.
See,
'Cause
that's phenomenal too, right? Like that your love for this like place was sparked by what you should do in this place, which is like free flow roaming.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the idea that I could be so close to nature because that's always been a big part of my life. Back when I was in Boy Scouts, we went camping all of the time. So I spent a lot of time outside. I grew up in the country in the middle of nowhere, so my brother and I were outside a lot. So it was really important to me to have that continuing. I didn't want to go to a school that was in the middle of the city where I was be completely removed from green space and the ability to go out in nature.
Were you in Scouts for a long time?
Yeah, I have my Eagle Scout award.
So that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, so
I feel like I knew that one too, but I rediscovering things with people that you haven't talked to in a while is another fun thing about this podcast. How did you get into Boy Scouts?
I'm sure it was mainly because my parents needed us out of the house.
And then why did you stay in Boy Scouts?
For probably the same reason. Like if I had I'm sure that high school me, given the option, would have wanted to sit at home and play computer games on Monday night. But instead, I went to Boy Scout meetings and then got to go camping on the weekends. So, my parents made the right call forcing me to go do that. But I'd love to say it was my decision 100%.
Psych.
Yeah, but it was one of those. No, you're going. You cannot quit. You don't have an activity to fill its place. Go.
Are you happy that you did go all the way?
Absolutely, yeah. I have no regrets about it. I had a great time in Boy Scouts. Went on a lot of fun camping trips, so it was great.
So I feel like there are different levels of people that have like takeaways from becoming an Eagle Scout, right? Like I know a handful of Eagle Scouts who like really take it at all different levels of seriousness. Some people that are like, I am the Eagle Scout and this is the creed that I live by, and I am that way.
No.
I've got somebody that's like, yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout and that's what makes me, and I can do this, and I'm an Eagle Scout. And then you're just kind of like, yeah, man, I'm an Eagle Scout. I made it.
Yeah, man, I got the thing. I got the badge. It was right at the end of the line. I was like a couple months before I couldn't get it anymore, and I had to quit. Because you can only be a Scout till you're 18, and then you go on to something else. So
if you don't get Eagle Scout before you're 18, you don't get to make it.
I think it's 18. It's been 14 years since
fair.
that point.
Fair.
So, it was like right at the buzzer. I got my Eagle Award. So, it's a thing that I have. It's not something I really ever think about.
Right.
It affects none of my life decisions.
There you go. That's probably a very reasonable way to look at it as well. I appreciate that. So when you came down here, was like the what you do now something that you even had in mind, or is this something that like developed as an interest through education and through schooling? Or were you just like, man, that curator market's red hot, got to get into that?
Oh God, no one has ever said that. That's not a thing. Love my job. It's great. But no one has ever been like, there are so many openings for museum positions. We need more graduates. So basically, my dad's an artist. He has a master's in fine arts. So like we grew up surrounded by art. My brother and I helped him make stuff our whole childhood. I was thinking on my walk here, I can remember like 3 family trips that didn't include some sort of visit to an art gallery or two or a museum. So it's not like I came to college wanting to be a museum professional. I really didn't have much of an idea what I wanted to be. I was an undeclared major for a while, but I really wanted to get involved on campus. Yeah. So I knew I liked art. I had been doing it up until college. I took as many art classes as I could. I did after school. I did like summer camps for art. So I just got involved with the museum. I walked in one day and said, "Hi, my name is Wes." I did not tell them my real name. And I said, "I want to get involved. Is there any way I can help out around the museum?" So they sent me from the office. They're like, "Okay, we'll just send this kid downstairs to Nate. He'll find some weird task for him to do, and it might be the last time he shows up." Little did they know that I had a history with construction. So I did construction for a couple years in high school during the summer, so I have experience building things. I was pretty handy. I mean, I'm an 18-year-old, so I'm not like a master carpenter or anything
But
like
you were
that.
an Eagle Scout, damn it.
Yeah, and I actually did build wooden benches. So, like, I can build things. But, yeah, it was mainly me just trying to get involved on SIU campus and make it more of an experience that I could get something out of. Because, like I said, at that point, I was an undeclared major, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And as I kept volunteering, working in exhibits became a career path I could see myself down. It's something that I enjoy. I don't get tired of it. I show up to work, and most of the time there's a new challenge. There's a new exhibit to put up, a new thing to figure out. So it's always a new set of tasks that I have to handle, and it's a wide variety of things. Like I do design work, I do carpentry, I interview people. It's a whole range of things. So I've been able to use all of my degrees in this really strange way in this arts-based major.
Oh, that's
or
neat,
arts-based career. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's like a career that's like a major part of my life, man. No.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, like,
so
when I wake up, I do this. And
Are you like tearing stuff down and building stuff like in the museum to accommodate exhibits? Is that part of what
so
you?
we don't do so much fabrication at the SIU Museum. So we do build some exhibit furniture. We try and build as little as possible because we have quite a bit on hand.
Furniture.
We have a huge amount of display cases and movable walls. So the main thing we do is we do layouts for galleries. So we have 20 plus walls that we put in custom layouts for shows. So it's always like, I guess it's kind of like Legos or Connects, kind of. I guess more like Connects than Legos because we're not like stacking things so they can't fall down. We have to like get them just perfectly together so they like actually lock in place. But yeah, I really like the job because it allows me to be creative in a really interesting way and just use that energy in a variety of paths.
Are you yourself an artist?
No, I'm not very good at it. I mean, like I can paint a little bit, but I don't feel like it's any good. No, I mean, I've tried. I still occasionally do it, but it's like, oh, I made that, and I put it up on the shelf and forget about it.
And that's gonna get dusty now.
Yeah, and that was a thing that I did. Maybe 6 months from now, I'll do another one. But no, I mean, like I always drew as a kid. I took drawing and painting classes, ceramics, metals, like jewelry making, graphic design. That's the thing that's attracted me more in the arts than my actual ability to paint or anything like that. Is graphic design work. It's more fun for me.
Yeah,
because it's not reliant on me painting and me watching myself paint and being like, this is crap. This sucks. Keep going. Maybe in the end you can do something with it. And I never can. It's always not good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just like, it's somewhere so hard in the middle that it's just like, why did I even spend time on this? Like, I could have done so many other things this hour.
Oh man, that's phenomenal. I mean, is that like, so what are your because I mean, the work seems like it's a work of somebody who would be a hobbyist, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things that you have to be able to treat it from a perspective of hobbyist consumption because that's who you're trying to appeal to. Ultimately, is somebody who's going to intake what you produce as leisure.
Absolutely, yeah. That's an interesting point. Yeah, museums are like a leisure activity. So, like, I've always viewed them not like they're in direct competition with things like amusement parks or playgrounds or like even in Southern Illinois, Giant City.
Yeah.
We're not directly in competition with them, but we kind of are because like we're trying to fight for people's justification to go out and do things.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess I'm a little bit of a hobbyist. I'm mainly a huge nerd. So I play a lot of D&D and Magic the Gathering. Like,
nice.
Major nerd. I cannot stress that anymore. But I've always like been pretty handy. Like I build things. I built like a couple benches, like things around the house. I'm good at building. I built a bed frame. I don't know, just a bunch of random stuff. If I need it, I'll try and build it.
Nice.
Doesn't always go as planned, but you know.
Did you spend some of your college years or some of your current years at Castle Perilous? Is that a?
Yeah, some of them.
Nice.
Yeah, probably more time than I should have. But, you know, it happens. And
I'm gonna at some point in time I'm gonna reach out to Scott and be like, all right, Scott, I'm 35 episodes in on the podcast. It's your turn. Let's go. He's one of I'm like banking people for later on because it's like I can't just start doing this, run out of all the interesting people in the first 100 and be like done, or like, you know, bank it where it's like I got a bunch of really good guests up the front and then start running out of people.
yeah, then it's just people I found around town.
Yeah. It's like, hey, random person on the street. Oh, turns out you've climbed 7 mountains on 7 continents and sailed the 7 seas. Oh,
well,
okay,
that
cool.
person's
Turns
in
out you just
Carbondale. I don't
live
know
in
why
Carbondale.
Yeah, if they're in Carbondale, I don't know why you're talking to me. So go find that person because way more interesting.
But that's the kind of people that Carbondale's full of. You probably get to run across a lot of them, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, museums attract an interesting group.
Yeah.
So I always get to meet. I mean, artists are great people. And there's a wide variety of people that pursue that. So it's always interesting characters that I get to meet, and it's been a lot of fun.
How long have you been doing with whatever you've done at Carbondale plus your time with other organizations? What would you call
do you want to go back as far as undergrad? Because like I started volunteering at the museum in 2007.
All right. So you're 13.
So
you're
13 years into this.
Who's the most interesting person you've run across in that time? Can you recall somebody? Is there somebody that sticks out? If not, that's fine. But I'm just curious.
Oh man, a lot of people. One of my favorite people that I met was when I lived in Ohio. His name's Rick Millette. We actually got to bring him down here for an exhibit, and he's a muralist. He's a great guy, a lot of fun to be around, always positive. And he has a great idea for why he makes art. So he's a muralist. So he makes 20+ foot long, 10-foot high freehand murals.
Yep.
And he's made, I think, close to 30 at this point, and there's only 3 that exist still. What? So he makes them with the intent that they'll be destroyed. Because he views it as a creative therapy for him.
Would he want to come do Carbondale Cycle?
He did actually. I don't know. He might. But I don't know. He actually, so when we first opened up, he came down from Ohio and did 2 murals live in the museum. So he was here for a week, and he did 2 freehand murals on the walls in one of our galleries. And he did it with the understanding and intent that we paint over them when they were done.
So, I mean, seriously, if that's something that is his thing, right, there is nothing better than Carbondale Cycle as we prepare to build the multimodal system, right? And again, I'm not just throwing out ideas here. If this is what this dude does,
as
he
his
enjoys
agent, I can say.
But because it's for sure going to get tore down, but it's for sure an iconic thing, and people would, just absorb so much from it. So, planning that idea, we'll talk about that afterwards. Mr. Agent.
Yeah. Oh God, I get no commissions. So do not count me as that. No.
Do you work with people's agents and stuff? Is that a thing? Is that a thing that even exists in the museum world?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
There are agencies that represent multiple artists. We do get some emails from them, but with how we operate and the kind of artists that we're able to get that are either SIU alumni or local, we tend to not go through those channels. We operate on a more direct basis with artists. So someone will have an exhibit and they'll give us a name of someone and we'll go talk to that person, kind of thing. Okay. So it's a lot of word of mouth from artists that we get some of our leads from.
Proper networking.
Yeah, it's actually meeting people. Like I said, we do get regular mailing things from agencies that'll be like, here are 6 artists that we have, and they have openings in 2025 for these months. Do you have any openings? And it's like, well, probably, but I don't work. We do schedule stuff years in advance, but we're not there yet. So 2025's open, but I'm not booking it. So
yeah, 2025's open. Oh my God. to even try and think about the
so-
near future, let alone the far future.
So it's stuff like
right
that.
now.
So like, yeah, I mean, we get stuff where it's like, it's 6 months from now, we have an artist. And like a lot of times it doesn't work out logistically where their exhibit would be too large and we have this tiny gallery space available. So it's like, no, I'm not going to even get in contact with them because it's going to be a waste of both our times. Because I can just tell that this 10-foot painting is not going to fit in this giant painting is not going to fit in this tiny gallery.
Our doors don't open wide enough for that.
Yeah, sorry, your art's too big.
Come to SIU Carbondale, home of the Tiny Art Museum.
Yeah. Oh God.
Well, okay, there we go. What's this? Okay, you've got something you obviously want to talk about.
Oh no, I was going to say we have some large paintings on display in the museum fairly regularly. Yeah, I think we had a guy from St. Louis, great guy, SIU grad named Yingzhui Zhou. He's Chinese. He makes these like 25-foot long murals, and we had 4 of them on display in the museum, and that was fantastic because I mean they were huge, like floor to ceiling things. We've had paintings by Najar Abdul Musawir that are bigger than the walls we have, and then sometimes we have tiny little paintings on display as well. So it's everything from a 11-foot tall painting to a 7-inch tall painting.
What's the smallest piece of art that you've ever worked to exhibit?
I don't know. That's a good question. Do you consider photography art? Because we have a bunch of little like
Polaroid size,
postcard, playing card size, a little bit smaller from like the Civil War area. We have some of that on display. Yeah.
Art. That's right. You tell those photographers where they belong.
Ooh,
WM.
I'm sorry, photographers. You do make art. It is valued, and I appreciate it. I promise.
Oh man. And what you make now used to be a lot more difficult to make, but it's totally okay.
Still great.
It's
I
very
love
good.
It. It's
we
on.
appreciate
There's
you.
some of it on display in the museum currently. We love photography.
Hashtag for the grams. No, man, that's fun. So, did you say what you actually got your degree in?
Oh no! So I have 2 degrees.
Okay.
I have an undergraduate.
Ooh, Mr. 2 degrees.
I'm
over here.
fancy. I have 2 degrees from SIU. I have an undergraduate degree in history and a master's degree in public administration, with my concentration being museum administration.
Nice.
At the time, it was
The hottest market.
yeah, man, I set myself up so well. You have no idea. So at the time, though, I had a really unique degree because it was I believe it was the only program in the United States that offered museum studies at an administrative level.
Yeah.
So like most of them are fine arts or history based, and this is in the public administration department.
Yeah.
That they have this like weird like nonprofit offshoot thing that I have. So I have a public administration degree.
Yeah.
That I use to be the curator at a museum. So very applicable. Great schooling. I loved my time here.
Oh, that's phenomenal. You're the second MPA that I've had on this podcast. Jessica will be an MPA soon enough, but Jessica Bradshaw is finishing up her MPA. She was on here. I guess I'm just gonna keep banking MPAs for the podcast.
There are some great people that are from there. Some big names came from there. Gary Williams.
Gary's on the
class.
advisory board for the MPA program, if I recall correctly.
So am I. I was on.
Are you? Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I
Okay,
actually
that
am
makes
too.
sense.
Yeah, go figure. Museum professional, advisor for the MPA department.
Nice.
But yeah, I had classes with Gary. Oh man, I wish I could remember some other names, but there's a lot of people from aviation, law.
Yeah.
So we actually had the MPA department at the time had a joint degree with the law school where you got a joint MPA and JD. So you took like those. I feel so bad for those students. They took like 30 credit hours, or not that many, but like 20 plus credit hours a semester in grad school because it was like a 3-year track that they had to get 2 complete degrees in basically. And I think they still have it.
That's a grind.
Those
buddy.
kids are amazing.
Yeah.
I would not have done it. I could not have done it.
Yeah.
It would have killed me.
I've been trying to think about like, well, what are the in the next 10 years, right? Like I got time. My 30s is a good time to figure out when would a good time to be to get an actual like advanced degree in the master's realm. And like thought, oh yeah, I would probably want an MPA over an MBA, just like leaning towards that direction in life and all. But now that you've told me that an option exists that is both JD and MPA all in one track.
If you do hate yourself and have no time, or have all the free time and all of the self-loathing, you can get that degree because it's you handcuffed to a desk.
I won't kick my children out of the house when they turn 18. I will make them both get proper jobs, making just enough money that they can cover all the bills in the house and they have to stay put. Well,
that's a plan. I mean, you have time. You can start drafting this and build it out so you have a 10-point plan set in place. Like, okay, so you're 18. Congratulations. Here's your job. Now I'm going back to school. We are now switching.
Tag in, tag out.
My turn. I'm going back to school. You get to be the adult. Bye.
I feel like they would buy into that too. I got good stepkids.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I mean, get this plan going early. You could probably get some early stages where you start giving them higher level chores or something like that, so it gives them more sense of responsibility and obligation around the house, so they feel like, well, I can't leave. He's going to go back to school when I'm 18. He keeps talking about it. I have to be here.
I've somehow by turning adulthood into more of a playful thing, right? Being really frank about adult happenings in life with my kids. Like when I got fired from a job 2 months ago, right? I explained to the kids in a playful way, here's how getting fired from a job works, and here's how to always be mindful of what your surroundings are, and blah blah blah. And it's I'm accidentally I'm not accidentally. I am adultizing these children, while at the same time allowing them to see some sort of play in childhood in the actual act of adulting.
Absolutely. It's, it can seem daunting. Yeah. And paying bills and going to a job every day is a lot of fun. Yep. But there is some levity to be had in it.
I legitimately just had this talk with a set of high schoolers earlier today that are in the on-the-job training program. Oh, I gotta have Jenna on this podcast as a guest now too. Aha! And she owes me favors. So
there you go.
This is a trade-off now. It's hey, somebody I spoke to your class.
That is a
couple
line.
times. I got about 3 or 4 favors cashing all at once. Can you spend an hour and a half talking to me about? Anyway, sorry. This is your hour, Wes, not somebody else's hour. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Nathan. I felt like we were straying too far away from me.
Yeah.
In this time, and it needs to be about me.
So preparing these kids to be adults at 18 and to pay all the bills for the house while I go back to school. I love the idea. And I think I can trick them into it. I think
probably don't want to take my advice on that. It's founded on nothing other than having to be around my little brother in the middle of nowhere.
Hey, and look at how Data turned out. Let's be real, man.
I would not. We barely made it.
That's a fair assessment.
We almost. We barely made it. I'll put it that way.
It could have gone one way or the other. It could have. You guys could be living in a 2-room flat right now, just together, trying to figure life out. Going, oh man, I gotta go to work again.
We would have been killing each other. That's what would have happened.
Have you guys ever lived together before?
Yeah, we have. We lived together after college or after high school for a year and a half, something like that. Yeah, he and I. Now that we're not living at our parents' house and we got to make our own rules and stay up as late as we want, things were better. Yeah.
Make our own rules and stay up as late as we want. This is such an enjoyable conversation. I didn't because we hadn't talked in forever, and I wasn't sure what your energy level was going to be coming into this conversation and
very
all that.
Low. Very low. I'm going to be a real downer. I'm going to be very sad. I promise.
And your just absolute pure energy has just perked me up, man. I really, really enjoyed this. And we've still got half an hour on the podcast.
I'm not wrapping anything up
right now, huh?
Whoa, I haven't talked for an hour yet.
Yeah, no. You said an hour's worth of words.
Oh my.
You just haven't talked for an hour.
Something up.
Yeah. So let's start going through college life in Carbondale. Do you feel like you had an interesting college life in Carbondale?
Yeah, I had a very I did.
Yeah.
Without getting into specifics, I've had so I owned a house. That's something most college kids don't. I had concerts in my house, and it was a regular people house. It wasn't like a party house. We trashed it. It's a bunch of 18-year-olds with their own house. Because how would that ever go bad? But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I met a lot of great people, a lot of strange adventures. And yeah, it was a time.
Has it stopped? Have you stopped the strange adventures
Oh
of
no,
Carbondale?
they've just become stranger. Stranger with stranger people. I love the new people. They're just the new type of strange. They're great. We're all weird. You got to be weird to live in this town. It's the only way it works.
And it's not even like keep Austin weird kind of crap. That's a marketing gimmick for Austin.
Yeah, no, this is just Carbondale.
We're proper weird.
Everyone here, including me. I'm weird. Putting that out there.
So I didn't. So where? Because you were talking about this house being on the west side. Where were you like anywhere near any other party houses, or were you like this standalone?
No,
just
in the middle of the west side, like on Gray Drive, which is off of Emerald and Sunset. Like,
yeah.
Real people house area, like real people house, real neighbors with kids and families, and me with all the furniture pushed to the walls, with bands set up in my living room and kegs out back, like. That was me, and we lit fireworks off in the front yard. We're general terrors around the neighborhood. I'm sure cops came pretty frequently. I'm sure my parents would love to hear that. Yeah, it was a blast. Met a lot of great people, a lot of great parties. But yeah, undergrad was something. I don't know how far I want to get into it, but we don't
have to get super far into it. We don't have to get super far into it. Was it mostly pre everybody documenting stuff on Facebook days, or was it like as that was just starting to become the thing?
It was pretty much the beginning of it. So like Facebook became open to people outside of college literally the year I went to college.
Okay.
So it's like the beginning of it. So everyone was documenting things, but not like it is now.
Yeah.
So there's probably some less than classy pictures of me online. There's probably some.
Luckily, they're not tagged as you.
Yeah, they're not. There's definitely some pictures of me asleep, drunk on the floor some places. I can promise that you have to dig for them, but they're out there. But yeah.
Here's the deal, man. If you ever want to be able to prove to somebody that you went to SIU, if you don't have those pictures, you didn't go to SIU.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing. You got to have those stories, or you just didn't really have a Carbondale experience. You just, you missed a big chunk of it.
I'm kicking the camera in front of me right now, just having too much fun. Oh, God. Having grown up here, have had these experiences not just through college life, but even in high school. It's crazy to still be like, oh, okay, and around people, because Carbondale keeps half of the people that you used to party with are still here. That's half of them get to leave, half of them stay here. That's the Carbondale rule. And you are one half of somebody else's half.
Yeah,
or you are one part of somebody else's half.
It's guaranteed. I'm on lists somewhere.
And forever and ever, you will always cycle through this group of people with whom you have had these relationships and you have partied so hardy. But wait. You'll now have adult conversations and reminisce about what used to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's fond memories of standing around. Remember that one time I did that keg stand at that one party? Uh-huh. That was a time. Stuff like that.
And I imagine people just running into people they used to go to college with at airports or in the city or wherever else. And it's it's always going to be that thing.
Mm-hmm. I remember SIU. We were there at the same. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were there.
That was a thing. And I'm sure it's similar at other colleges, but in a different way.
Yeah, SIU is a unique animal, and it's a great place. I've had a lot of fun in Carbondale. Both times when I was an undergrad in grad school, and then now that I've come back, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
So where did you did you just go to one place when you left here the first time, or did you jumped around to a couple different places in the midst of...
A little bit of jumping around. So after I finished grad school here, I got a job out in Ohio at the Cincinnati Museum Center, which is the largest freestanding half dome in the Western Hemisphere. And it is a fun fact. Half dome, not full dome. It's like clam.
Trust me, man, I'm sitting with a half dome right here.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you're on board with it. But yeah, I got a job out there working with their special exhibits, being like a floor manager kind of thing. And then shortly into that position, I got another position there working on their exhibit fabrication team. So we built exhibit furniture like pedestals and platforms and did installations and deinstallations. And I did that for a couple years. And then I moved back to Illinois, and then I got a private contract to design and install an exhibit in Northern Illinois for a small museum. And then this job opened up down here. So it was just, I finished that contract, and then this job was just available. So I applied for it. So it just kind of worked out great.
That's cool. And I feel like you said this earlier, and I've already forgotten it, but you guys were from Central Illinois?
Yeah, I'm from a small town outside of Champaign.
Okay.
I can guarantee there's probably one person tops that knows where it's at.
Nice.
It's a town called Seymour. It's 400 people or something like that. It's one of the largest towns in Central Illinois based on acreage and town size, because it's all cornfields. So it's just this tiny little spot in the middle of these cornfields, and it's bigger than Champaign. It's just
the cornfields.
The township is huge, but the town is tiny.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, then that's what people don't get about Illinois is its makeup of just how it is, right? And I'm sure California and New York have the same, issue of California's way more than just San Francisco or Los Angeles or Humboldt County or whatever. It's Illinois is a lot more than just, no, it's just corns and beans. Just kidding.
No, there's Chicago at the top, and the rest of it's corn.
Yep.
It's just all a big field.
Until you get to the bumpy part, down to the bottom tip.
Yeah, it's just things at the top and bottom, the rest of it, cornfields. That's it.
Barack Obama, I can't remember what the what the news piece was, but I just remember the quote. He was riding in the car or something. He was like, "That's corns, and that's beans." It's and this is Illinois. No,
yeah, he was accurate, 100% accurate. That's an authentic Central Illinois experience: is corn and beans. Yeah, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. Closest neighbor half a mile away.
Yep.
Most half of the year we had an 8-foot tall corn fence around us. The other half, it's like living on Mars. There's nothing around you. Your house is on top of a hill and it's barren fields. It's just look at all of the not life around me.
So did you guys, were your parents involved in farming? Or you guys just lived in the midst of
Yeah, we
farms?
just lived in the midst of it. My parents got their house forever ago. It was a farmhouse they had to do a bunch of work on to get it back to livable. My dad was an artist and then had a construction company, and my mom's an accountant. Neither of them are farmers.
So you and your brother are really apples not falling far from the tree.
Yeah, probably. I mean, unfortunately, I'm a lot like my dad, and my brother's a lot like my mom. We did not fall very far, much to both of our chagrins.
And you guys are both pretty decent people, and you're a little hippy-dippy-ish. And your parents are a little hippy-dippy-ish, if you say.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a in Carbondale, it's a compliment.
Yeah,
I don't know what it would be like elsewhere.
I absolutely felt that as a compliment.
Good. That is what it was meant as. Yeah. So that is an interesting component to the story, right? That you guys each followed kind of, unexpectedly.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
There's no way we would have both predicted that. I'm going to follow an arts-based career like my dad, where I do artistic things, but I also build things, and my brother's a number cruncher.
Yeah.
Neither one of us would have picked that. We would have told you were dumb and wrong, and we would have gotten mad and stormed out of the room, most likely. But here we are.
So how close are you guys in age?
Just over 3 years, 3.5 years apart.
Okay.
3 years, actually almost exactly 6 months. His birthday's in October, mine's in April. So we're 20 days apart from being 3.5 months exact.
Do you feel like that was a good amount of time in between you guys, like in terms of like you being able to be influential on your brother and your brother be able to just leave you alone when need be or whatever? like was, or do you guys feel like it would have been different if you guys were a year apart versus 3.5 years apart versus?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I never thought about that. If we were closer, we probably would have gotten into more trouble. But Dana is like the same size as me. He's taller than me.
Yeah.
So our whole childhood, we were the same size.
Were you really?
Yeah. Like he grew faster than me. He's tall. He's a couple inches taller than me, but like whole childhood, same size. We still wear the same size everything. We were the same size clothes. So it's been like two people that are the same size that are 3 years apart. So it's like having a partner in crime my whole life. So it's hard to tell like, yeah, he's younger than me, but we still got into the same type of crap and was like having someone that was the same age as me. Because, like I said, we lived in the middle of nowhere. Our closest neighbor was half a mile away. My parents are both self-employed. So a lot of the summers were spent with us hanging out on the farm doing chores. It's like, we say farm. We grew up.
Also say chores. No,
yeah,
I'm sure.
No, it was chores. That shit sucked. It was my dad's, like, I am sure his, like, crowning achievement, peak moment of parenthood was waking up every day in the summer and making a fresh list of chores for my brother and I that had to be done by the end of the day. And if we didn't get them done, oh God. Not only was your list the next day longer because it was your chores from the day before plus 4 new ones, you got to hear about it all night. So it was like, you better wake up at 6 in the summer and start your chores and have them done by 3 or there's going to be hell to pay.
And that hell to pay is just listen to me cut you down all night long.
Yeah, and it was stuff like, so my parents have they have like an acre and a half, and it was like picking up all of the sticks. And we have like a bunch of trees. We have a tree line out there. So it's like 4 hours of picking up sticks, and you got to like wake up 2 kids in their early teens to make them go do unsupervised manual labor on their own. It just didn't go well. Neither one of us wanted to do it. We both resented the fact we were out there and that the other one was trying to make the other one do it. So it just went as well as you could expect.
And just this constant charade of antics trying to get...
Yeah, and just like general resentment for the activities themselves. I swear I feel like the only kid that didn't ever have a fun summer. And that I had a fun summer, everyone. I mean, my life was great.
Your whole life is a fun summer now, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But yeah, it was like everyone, like I talked to my friends, they're like, yeah, we're hanging out because they all lived in town. Like I lived next. So Seymour is a joint school district, Mahomet, which is a slightly larger town outside of Champaign. All my friends lived in Mahomet, so they could go hang out with each other. I live in the middle of a cornfield, like 20 miles.
You gotta go hang out with your brother in a pile of sticks.
Yeah, pretty much. That's about how that went. Yeah, yeah. Like when cable TV became really big, they literally told my parents, "You can't have cable. We refuse to run the line out to you." Yeah. So like, dial-up internet for the longest time. Like my sophomore year in high school, we got beyond dial-ups. There's not even anything you can do on the internet. Like there's just nothing to do out there.
You got sticks, buddy. I'm gonna keep saying.
And we did. We had sticks.
And we worked with those sticks. And we picked those sticks up and we cherished those sticks to the moment at which we burned them to the ground.
We did that too. That was the other upside of living in the country is, so Champaign's pretty close to Indiana. So my friends, it's like a 45-minute drive to, I think it's Shelton Fireworks is the name of it. So there was definitely some days where my friends and I would get off school and be like, get in the car. We're going to go buy a bunch of shit and blow it up today.
Is that where like kind of doing the fireworks at the party house? When you guys
I'm
got
sure. Yeah. My
older?
friends. Oh yeah. That's the beginning of bad decisions. Yeah. Just like, I shouldn't say it. Burning textbooks, like extra books at the end of the year. Like
at the end of the year.
Like we had smoke, like there's like these things are like 5-minute smoke bombs or whatever, where it's like this tube that just smokes. Yeah. Little did you know that stuff's flammable. Yeah. And you can like rip a little bit of the paper and light it, and it's a 5-minute blowtorch. A lot of fun with those. And yeah, that progressed to throwing bottle rockets at each other in college. So, you know, a lot of history with fireworks, and none of it's smart.
I got shot in my right eye with a Roman candle when I was 23 years old.
That's
permanent cataract on that eye. Doesn't see out the same as my left eye does. Haven't had contacts in since. All but stopped shooting guns because of the eye injury.
I would imagine.
not that it was a gun that shot me in the eye, but it's just to say that my right eye was my dominant, was my shooting eye. Like,
yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
It's not a thing anymore. So, yeah, interesting. Do you guys ever have any fireworks injuries, notably? We're always lucked out.
No. We were lucky in that aspect.
See, I didn't even.
When we were
buddy
throwing
Jimmy just
bottle
sitting by the
rockets-
fire, just floating it around.
Yeah, and when we were throwing bottle rockets, I mean, they probably would have hurt, and they probably could have put out an eye, but we were lucky enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Where, they're like the little ones. We're like,
Yeah.
the firework's that big, and the stick's like that, and you can light it, and you just like whip it up in the air, and it shoots up.
Yeah.
And we're doing this next, like, right down the street from the police station, too.
Yeah.
So, like, peak stupidity.
Yeah.
Like, we're just killing
Yeah,
it
but
as
the police
far as
station was
making
already
bad
next to a
decisions.
cornfield anyway. So
Yeah. Well, this is in college I'm talking
Oh,
about now.
oh.
Yeah, in the cornfield, it was just like, how many fireworks can we get? Because there's no one coming out here. Like I said, my closest neighbor's half a mile away. He's a farmer who also lives in town. So for like 8 months out of the year, it's like 2 miles till somebody. So it's just whatever you want to do. We drove go-karts around out in the fields. That was crazy, like dirt tracks with the corns down.
Uh-huh.
A lot of fun.
That's so cool. I mean, I'm sure there's some components about like not having a bunch of neighbors to be around, but also I'm sure it was a really cool experience just to like wide open country.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's strange living in town. Like there's a lot of weird habits that you pick up living essentially in isolation that
Yeah.
like don't translate well or to living in a city.
What are I'm interested in some
Well,
of those. I
like
wanna-
peeing outside. You can just like you live in the country, everywhere's your toilet. Like no, that doesn't matter.
that
like,
is the truth. That
yeah,
is-
and it's
yeah.
like it's just you just walk outside. Like I have to go pee. There's people in the bathrooms. There's no one here.
Yeah.
I'm going over there. Like no one go to this side of the house. Like I'm gonna be out there. And you can't do that in town.
No.
It's frowned upon. You
Yeah.
get a ticket for that.
Yeah.
You're on a registry. It's a whole thing. But my whole life growing up, it was the other bathroom.
I
It was-
should have sprung for the 7-foot fence and not just the 4-foot
Yeah,
fence.
it's like the half bath is outside. You just go pee out there.
the half bath is outside. I'm gonna start calling outside when I'm like, Zach, just go to the half bath.
Yeah, just go out there. It's fine. It's fine. I promise.
What else you got? What else? I mean, obviously, just general light pollution, man. Just being able to like look.
Oh
up in
yeah,
the
that was
sky
the
and-
weirdest thing. Like, so yeah, living in the country, very little light pollution.
Yeah.
Sky is filled with stars. Moving into even Carbondale, which isn't a huge population,
Yeah.
it's like a third of the stars. It's crazy. I could see the Milky Way where I grew up, and that's just gone here. You got to go like in the middle of Giant City to be able to see that. Like
Yeah.
the last time I had a comparable experience was when I was out on, not Little Grassy, not Kincaid. I can't remember. One of the lakes around here.
Yeah.
I was out there really late with a bunch of friends, and we were night canoeing, and I could actually see all of the stars, and everyone was amazed. And it's like, this is finally like now you see what I saw every night as a
Yeah,
child.
this is
Like
just a
this is
thing.
it. Like this is what the sky looks like, people.
That happens when you flip the switch to off.
Yeah, this is what it's like when all the lights go off.
Did your brother do scouts too, or was it just?
Yeah, he did it as well.
Is he also an Eagle Scout?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I want to say no. He got so he and I both did sports our whole childhoods
Uh-huh.
too. So we both did soccer all the way through high school.
That's what it was. He was a big soccer guy.
Yeah, he and I
Okay.
did soccer all the way till we were 18, basically all year. So
Yeah.
we took about 5 months off maybe. So we did summer, fall, and winter. We did soccer. So it was summer. It was all year because the spring semester was when I did indoor for a couple months. So yeah, there was a couple months off every year where I wasn't doing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I was on the swim team growing up. I did golf. I played tennis. My parents just threw us into activities as much as we
Mm-hmm.
could. But he got he was a ref in high school, so he got out of Boy Scouts. He actually found a legitimate activity to go do instead of me, who's just like, I just don't want to do it anymore. Can I just not go? Can I just sit at
not
home?
go. I'm done.
Yeah.
Cash me out.
Yeah, I've had enough. I've had fun. I have merit badges. I just want to play video games sometimes.
Were you? Did you pick up video games and D&D and Magic and all the stuff that you do now? Before or after you moved out of the house? Was that?
Oh, way before.
Okay, all
Probably much to my parents' regret.
Okay.
Yeah, junior high. started playing all of that stuff. This is back when like people thought D&D was for the devil, and if you play it, you're gonna hang out in a sewer grate and kill yourself if your character dies. Real conversation I had with my mom. She brought that up. She's like, well, there was these kids out in California who were doing drugs, and they killed themselves after they died playing their characters. Are you going to do that? Why? Why would I do that? It's a game. Like, no, Mom. My friends and I are not going to go sit out in the barn, that's where we still played D&D.
We are part of the generation of people who were the first to get bullshit chain emails from our parents. And we got them when we were children.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, much to their regret, I started wasting all of my money when I was very small on very stupid things. So, Magic cards are expensive and it's cardboard. And I love the game, but it's dumb. Like, why? I don't understand. Like, it's addicting. It's cardboard. It's a game, and it just like it's a hole you fall in. But it's fun. Yeah. That all started in like junior high.
Nice.
So just kept playing both of them. Just been a whole.
I'm glad Magic the Gathering made it, and Pokemon didn't quite. The threshold.
I do regret giving away all of my Pokemon cards now. I had a lot of them that are apparently now worth money, and when I gave them away, were worth nothing. So it was like, I have this binder of trash. Do you want this? And then now it's like I'm an idiot. Like that's.
No, my kids are all into it now, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever with your dumb little blah, blah, like, here's the real collection of cards. Like, do you see this first edition? Do you know what that is?
Look at my first edition Charizard. Yeah. First edition base set Charizard. What now? Like, no, I had all that stuff, gave it away.
God, it's gotta hurt.
Yeah, I'm a genius.
It's gotta hurt.
Very smart.
So that happened I lost a NES and an N64 around the start of Xbox because maybe it was like mid Xbox. So it was N64, then like the N64 and PlayStation generation led to PlayStation 2.
Yeah, Xbox carried over with PlayStation 2, and then it was like Xbox One and PlayStation 3, and then whatever it is now.
So it just one of my grandparents gave away all of my old video games, and like I've spent my entire adult life trying to recreate this childhood that I wish would have never been given away.
Oh, I feel that. I had a problem buying Sega games for a while for that exact reason, because I needed them. I would sit around and I'd think about these games that frustrated me to death as a child that I couldn't beat, like level 2.
Yeah.
Still can't. Yep. But I have some of them now. So that's an accomplishment in my eyes.
Now, I've spent, like, just to get boxes, like, just to know, like...
Oh, yeah. A lot of my stuff doesn't in a box, because... I'll just buy the cart for a couple bucks.
Give me the cart. No, I was like, I needed to have the entire setup for Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Snap. Like, I couldn't just be without that. I was like, I had this map when I was a kid. I had the box when I was a kid.
Now.
Like, I need this is my security blanket. Oh man, no, it's interesting the things that you think about that are fit, that aren't a fit. Like what should you have hung on to? What should you have given away? Type thing. And I imagine that's like, I don't know, is that a feeling that you run up against as a curator, like trying to figure out, what to keep and what to give away from the standpoint of like just producing exhibits?
Yeah, it's always a careful balance of what we have in the museum at any time. So like, we don't just want to have the galleries full of a random assortment of exhibits. While they all might be high quality and excellent shows, we really want to create a sense of some sort of like cohesion for the things. So like right now we have 3 alumni from SIU currently on display. All of them are successful individuals who pursued careers outside of MFAs. One of them owned Weaver's Cottage. One of them was an editor in Syracuse, New York, and one of them owns a design firm in Memphis, Tennessee. But they are all fantastic, amazing, accomplished artists. So that was one thing. Like, we had these 3 people. Instead of spreading them out throughout the year, I wanted to have them all in the same time because that's a theme that fit. We also have some political shows that have like they're a little bit charged in that manner, but they're also on display right now because I didn't want to spread them out. They needed to be together because that's how they thematically make sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's always a careful balance of trying to make sure that there's a variety of content in the museum, so it's not just one homogenous experience, so like every gallery feels like it's the same thing, but that things are close enough yet distant thematically where it feels like, yeah, this should be here. Like the color patterns move from one exhibit to the next, or there's themes that are picked up in one that go to the next gallery, that go to the next gallery, that go to the next one, that go to the next one, and it kind of moves naturally through there. So it's something I always try and pay as much attention to as I can. I mean, with how things are happening with COVID-19, it's always a little up in the air how things are going to look. So we sometimes have to do a little bit of shuffling around. We had to do that this year when when the university shut down. So we had a bunch of shows that were supposed to be thematically clumped around rural life and stuff like that. So we had one that was stories from Southeast Missouri, Kentucky, and Southern Illinois, and photography to accomplish that. We had that was going to be running at the same time with an exhibit on the history of farming in the region, as well as an exhibit on so it's like artistic representations of animal processing. So it's like this real like rural themed was supposed to be in the South Hall that we had to scrap and move to next year. So luckily we were able to keep them all bunched up, but with how things are moving around, and it's always a little difficult to try and keep things as focused as we'd like them to be.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're doing a fine job. I hope.
Like, we're gonna keep doing it until somebody says don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's working. People seem to like it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just gonna keep moving forward, I guess.
No, you guys get a proper amount of attention too. Like,
it's not like we get hounded with complaints or anything like that. I mean, we get even though we've been underneath COVID restrictions, we still have people coming to the museum. We still have artists bringing in stuff. We're posting stuff on our social media. One of the artists made an artist talk video. That's up there. So we can't do receptions, unfortunately, because there's limits on how many people can be at events, things like that. And it's just way too complicated, and you can't justify it. There's not enough people allowed. So we're trying to explore other venues and other ways to do that. So having artists make videos about their exhibitions that we can include on online galleries is one way that we're trying to kind of bridge that gap. I know it's not exactly one-to-one, but it's really is about as much as we can do right now.
And it's what everybody can do right now. I mean, the whole trick to this is simply keep alive.
Yeah,
right. It's don't, you can lose activity, but don't lose relevance.
Absolutely. That's what we've been trying to do. Like, while the number of exhibits is slightly lower because we had some that we had to move to next year, we're still trying to keep new things in the museum, new voices coming through from outside the community, and just trying to keep things fresh in there and keep trying to put out content online.
Do you still put out the sandwich board sign that says University Museum this way?
It's still there. It doesn't make it out every day, but it's still there for you to see.
Good. Do you remember? I feel like you found yourself in this comment section. I made this post like a year ago. I was like delivering Chinese food or something, and would stop by the museum and like saw the sandwich board and like took a picture of it and posted. Somebody was like, "Well, you should just tell people where that's at." And it's like it says on the fucking sign, man. Like it's.
I mean, that's a thing. I mean, people don't. So a lot of people know that there's a museum on campus. We're not a hidden thing. We're out there. But there is a large percentage of like even on-campus population that doesn't even know they were a museum. I had a gentleman come in a couple weeks ago. He's graduating this semester. It was his first time ever in the museum. He didn't know there was one. And it's like, we've been here for 150 years. I'm glad that you're in here now. But yeah, we're not new. We've been here.
We need like and this goes back to your, I hit the triad. I fell in love. Da da da. R.I.P. Crank That Allen 3.
Yeah. Me too. I actually lived on Allen 3. That was my first dorm that I stayed in. Yeah.
Do you remember the Allen 3 music video?
No.
Oh, I can't wait to show you the Allen 3 music video.
Yeah, I got to see that.
When we're done with this. It was essentially just like, it was probably, I don't know, 2009, 2010, something like that. people, the performer's name was Y.G. And they took essentially just their own version of what was like the Hammerhead dance at the time. And they were just like, crank that out in 3, and that was the song. And then like a year later is when they tore it all down.
Oh yeah,
or like 2 years later, and it's just like
it's very relevant. Then.
I get it. Like it makes sense to have felled those buildings at this point.
Even when I was there in like 2006, one of them, I think it was Allen, Boomer, and Wright. I think Wright Hall was completely empty.
Yeah.
And Allen was like mostly full. Boomer was all the way full. Allen was mostly full, and Wright was empty. And like it just kept going down from there. So
yeah, you can only maintain so much stuff. So prepare for the new best you can.
Absolutely.
This was fun, Wes.
Yeah,
I really
great.
enjoyed this.
I had a lot of fun.
I hope you all had fun on this podcast too. That's episode 18, the WTF Carbondale podcast with W.M. Stoerger. And as I always like to say, have a good one, whatever that one may be.